Hello, I'm Kitten Gilmore, a scholar in the James L. Knight School of Communications at Queen's University. This presentation was created for my COM 613 class to showcase an uh-oh moment, analyze it through the lens of a communication theory, and apply strategic communication in accordance with the chosen theory. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy.
Unexpectedly so, applying theory to an uh-oh moment. Have you ever gone to ask a routine question that was met with a surprising and unexpected reaction? In the following presentation, such an instance will be evaluated through the lens of Goffman's theory. A woman and her coworker Jane must coordinate sharing document files for their clients. While they work hard to try to make sure there's no overlap and both are not needing the same file at the same time, if someone misses a day or two, it impacts their timeline and the person who was pacing behind can quickly catch up. The coworker went to see Jane about a file she needed, just as she'd done previously, only this time her request about the file was met with an unanticipated reaction. When the coworker asked Jane when the file would be available for use so she could prepare for her next group meeting, Jane initially seemed surprised by the request. Jane became very flustered when she couldn't locate the file at first, and then started babbling about how she really isn't an idiot and how she's normally much more organized, and expressed how stressed and confused she was. The flustered confusion turned into an admission of embarrassment because she'd fallen behind due to being pulled for other assignments and projects. She indicated she couldn't believe that the coworker already needed a file she hadn't even gotten to yet. It was at this point that Jane went into a full-on emotional breakdown and shared all of the things, work and unwork related, that were contributing to her stress. The coworker who made the request for the file listened carefully. What else could she do? She offered tissues and stayed until Jane calmed down. When she left, she said she would come back later for the file if Jane was still using it. Jane's coworker was concerned and went to her supervisor to explain that she was going to be late with her next portion of the assignment for the next group meeting, and also share what had just transpired. The coworker was shocked to learn that this is a normal Jane reaction to her becoming overwhelmed. Looking at this uh-oh moment through the lens of Goffman will help to explain the situation better. Goffman's key notions involve impression management, framing, footing, and face. In the case of Jane, she is struggling with impression management and how she thought she was being judged by the coworker who made the request for the file. Additionally, Jane was struggling with who she thought she needed to be in front of her coworker, and she lost her ability to maintain her front stage appearance as everything that was backstage has now come up front too. Jane also tried to frame the situation to her coworker with the explanation of why she hadn't gotten to use the file yet, but with the element of embarrassment in play, she was hampered in doing so. Her footing for the situation was evident through her verbal expressions and nonverbal emotional signals, both in congruence of each other, demonstrating frustration, stress, and helplessness. Jane's deployment of emotions was a face-saving maneuver to deflect from the original issue that caused her the embarrassment and made her feel pressured and threatened and ultimately overwhelmed. What could Jane's coworker do in the future, especially now knowing that this is a typical tactic for Jane in situations where she feels pressured and threatened or embarrassed? How can she avoid poking that bear? Since the concept of face is intertwined with power, the reaction of Jane is a defense mechanism that is activated when hidden conflicts, unknown to others, surface to her as she is feeling overpowered. According to Goffman, having information about the individual in face-to-face interaction helps to define the situation. Thus, now that Jane's coworker does have the information about how Jane is likely to react in future interactions if she feels threatened, can help the coworker develop ways to minimize the threat to Jane. First, a more concrete calendar other than a verbal word of mouth and a checkout system for the files can be implemented so that it is spelled out who has what folder file from when to where. Next, a records request form could be drafted that would get forwarded in lieu of a face-to-face confrontation that seems to cause Jane embarrassment, followed up by an email request. The implementation of these strategies allows for Jane to remain in the loop and also not be blindsided by an unexpected request which forces her to mingle her front stage appearance with her backstage appearance in effort to save face. In conclusion, the uh-oh moment between Jane and the coworker could not have been avoided as the coworker had no knowledge of Jane's history of emotional outbursts. Going forward, though, having that knowledge, future face-to-face exchanges can be framed to minimize the likelihood of making Jane feel backed into a corner and powerless by ensuring Jane has been included in the background efforts about coordination of file sharing.
Thank you for viewing. This presentation was created for my communications class at Queen's University. Please share your comments on my blog.
Thank you for viewing. I hope that this presentation has helped to spark further interest for you in strategic communication and how Goffman's theory can be applied to it. Signing off, Kitten Gilmore.